Hello, Facebook. Hello, Linda. So as you get ready, we'll still wait another minute or so, but as you get ready to a comfortable seat, and make sure you have something to put under the knees if you need anything. Hello, Emily. So good to see you. Hi, Sherry. So we'll start in just one moment.
Oh, I was on mute. Hello.
Hi. Everybody's automatically muted coming in just to make it less disruptive. Hi, Virginie. And to make sure that if people are signing in a little late, hi, Janice, that there's no challenge with that. Hi, Nadia. Hi, Virginie. Hi, Nadia. And Lawrence, if he's there. Okay, so let's start. Adjust your seat, turning your thighs in with your hands. Place your fingertips for a moment down on the ground beside you, so that as you push down with the fingertips, the sides of the torso lengthen, and roll the tops of the shoulders back and down away from the ears. Lift the center of the chest lightly up, and keeping the lift in the center of the chest, place the hands lightly up or down on your legs. Tonight is the eve of the full moon in May. Maybe it feels like March because there's some snowflakes in the air as I look out the window. But this full moon in May, which is very early Thursday morning, is a moon that recognizes the birth, enlightenment, and death of the Buddha. And so in honor of this full moon, I thought I would share one of my favorite quotes attributed to the Buddha. And many of you have heard this before. Some of you repeat it to me when I see you, which is really lovely. Like all great wisdom teachings, it's useful to return to them time and time again. So the Buddha is said to have said that in the end, only 3 things matter: how greatly you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of that which is no longer serving you. So he said, in the end, the only things that matter are how greatly we've loved, how gently we've lived, and how gracefully we've let go of all that is no longer serving us. And as usual in the asana practice, in the yoga practice, the movement part of the practice, it's an opportunity to cultivate and embody any quality that we're bringing to mind, but for tonight, those particular aspects. So that will be the invitation for our practice, to consider as we move, we love. And the yoga tradition says that this always, all the teachings start with ourselves. So it's really about how we love ourselves, how gently we've lived in relationship to ourselves, and then in relationship with the world around us, and how gracefully we let go of that which is no longer serving us. And as a general rule, tension is not serving us. Strength may serve us, but tension not so much. So we can begin to discern the difference between those two. So with that in mind, close your eyes. tune into your breath. And if it's useful for you to connect more fully to the body and the breath, you can place one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest. And with the eyes closed and the attention on the breath, let the breath lead the mind into the body, so that with your attention you trace the movement of the breath from the nostrils down and in on the inhale, and the exhale from inside up and out. As the breath settles and you become more and more and more aware of the breath, notice the touch of the breath inside the and recognize that the qualities of great love, gentle living, and gracefully letting go are held in the movement of the breath. And just for the next couple of cycles of breath, in particular, if it's comfortable for you, let the exhalation lengthen slightly. And we'll do it in this particular guided way. But again, if this is not working for you for any reason, just let the breath move naturally. So inhale. Let the exhalation release completely. Notice there's a little pause, and now before you inhale, exhale a little bit more. Inhale, long, slow, gentle breath in. Exhale completely. Long, slow, gentle exhale. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. One more time like this. Long, slow, gentle breath in. Exhale, long, slow, gentle breath out. Little pause. Exhale a little more. Inhale. Let the breath return to normal, meaning you're not extending the exhalation necessarily in this way. And notice the impact, if any, of that exhalation. And then join your hands together at your heart so that the thumbs touch against the center of the chest. Let the touch of the thumbs lift the center of the chest up. And either pause here or join in for one Om. Take a full breath in. Om. Lift your head. Come over onto your hands and knees. And use a blanket for the knees if that's comfortable. So as we often do to start the practice, we'll do the cat-cow spinal curls, moving with the breath. So place the hands shoulder distance apart. Turn the hands slightly out to the sides and bring the weight down into the index fingers, at the knuckles at the base of the index fingers and the heels of the thumbs. If it's better for your hands to be on the fists, that's another option, or you can also come up on your fingertips if that's a better placement for you. Place the knees hip bone distance apart, extend the shins straight back behind you, and then tune into the breath. Exhale, tilt the tailbone down and round your back up
toward the sky. Release the head down between the arms. As you inhale, lift the tailbone.
Sway your spine toward the earth, look forward or up slightly. Exhale.
Round. Drop the tailbone down, curl the spine up toward the sky. And then inhale, lift the tailbone.
Sway each vertebrae of the spine down toward the earth, look forward, up slightly. A couple more times like this.
Move with the rhythm of your breath. One more time all the way through. So with your next inhale, looking forward.
After that, pause and bring your spine parallel to the earth. So the tailbone tilts down a little bit. Scoop back the low belly so that the lower back is long. And then we'll do some strengtheners for the spinal muscles. So staying on your left knee, extend your right knee straight back behind you. Tuck the right toes under for a moment. Lift the very top of your right thigh up, away from the ground, and hug your left hip in so your hips haven't shifted to the left. Then take your right leg up to hip height and reach back through your right heel. Stay here, both hands on the ground, or stretch the left arm out alongside. Breathe. Reach back through the inside edge of the right leg, out through the middle fingers of the left hand. Inhale, and then exhale, hand and knee down. Extend the left leg back behind you. With the toes on the ground, pause there. Draw the top of the left thigh up away from the ground and hug the right hip in. Drop the shoulder blades away from your ears. And then inhale the left leg to hip height. Again, stay here, both hands on the ground, or stretch the right arm out alongside the right ear, thumb up. Breathe. Keep reaching back through the inside edge of the left leg and stretch the middle fingers of the right hand out diagonally away from that. Inhale here. Exhale, hand and knee down. Turn over and lie on your back. So you could take the blanket folded for behind your head. That's useful. And then lying on your back, you can keep the left leg bent, or you could stretch it out straight on the ground. We're doing the supine leg stretch. So if the left leg is straight out on the ground, point the knee and the foot up and press very strongly the back of the left thigh down into the ground. If it's bent, keep the left hip down as well. Bend the right knee in, catch the back of the right thigh. If you have a belt, you could put it around the ball of the foot. Curve the lower back away from the floor. Push the right thigh away from you into your hands if you're holding the leg. And then stretch the leg straight up in the air. Reach the big toe side of the foot up toward the sky. And pull the baby toe side of the foot down toward the outside of your right hip a little bit. Keep the lower back curve. 2 more breaths. And then releasing the hands. Exhale. That foot down, change sides. So right leg straight or bent. And if the right leg is straight, press the back of the right thigh strongly down to the ground. Everybody curl the lower back a little bit away from the
the floor and keep the weight even on both hips. Draw the left leg in and catch the back of the thigh. Push the thigh into the hands and stretch the leg straight. As you stretch the left leg straight, push the big toe side of the left foot strongly up toward the sky and pull the baby toe side of the foot down so the ball of the foot is parallel to the ceiling. Breathe here. And remember that you're tuning into this as an experience of gentleness, of love, and of gracefully letting go. So we want to work in a way that embodies as much as possible those three qualities. Exhale, bend the left leg, release the hands. Cross the right ankle on the left thigh. Number 4 position, Suchirandhrasana. Lightly flex the right foot so that the foot is relatively perpendicular to the shin. Keep the weight even on both sides of the pelvis. Lightly press your right knee away from you. Either stay here or lift the left knee up. Catch the back of the left thigh with your hands, or perhaps around on the front of the shin. Maintain the evenness of weight across the back of the pelvis. And even if your lower back is touching the ground, make sure it's not weight bearing. Breathe. As you breathe, perhaps with a core action that embodies gentleness, move the right knee away from you, and perhaps draw the left knee in a little bit more. Allow each exhalation to move fully and completely. And then release the hands. Put the left foot down on the ground if you've lifted it, uncross, and then change sides. So left ankle on right thigh. Weight even across the back of the pelvis. Perhaps simply stay here and move the left knee away from you. Or lift up and catch the back of the thigh with your hands. Keep the knee pointing, the right knee pointing toward the right shoulder if you lifted the knee in. Move the left knee away from you. And especially tonight, make sure that the exhalation is present and available. And that perhaps there's even a sense that you can slightly, especially in these opening positions, lengthen the exhale. One more breath. And then releasing the hands. Put the right foot down, uncross the left. We're going to do the abdominal exercise where the thighs are perpendicular and the shins are parallel to the ground. So again, keeping the weight across the back of the pelvis. Perhaps the lower back will touch the ground, but the weight is on the back of the pelvis. Place your hands at your sides. Lift one at a time the knees up so that the knees are just over the hips. And draw the low belly down toward the ground. Flex the feet. Place the hands on the center, keep the hands at the sides, or place the hands in the center of the thighs. And if you're placing the hands in the center of the thighs, lightly press your thighs into your hands, and then push your hands lightly into your legs, so that there's a firm but gentle touch. Two more breaths. And then releasing the hands, exhale, feet down. We're going to do the hamstring stretch one more time, but with no hands. Either left leg straight on the ground or left leg bent. Press the back of the left thigh down if the leg is straight. Draw the right knee toward your chest without using your hands. Flex the foot. And then stretch the leg straight, pushing the heel up toward the ceiling. Keep the weight even on the back of the pelvis and a little curve in the lower back. With the exhale, draw the leg a little more in toward the torso. It doesn't have to move very far. And then take it back out as you inhale. Exhale more in. Inhale back out. 3 more times. Now hold it in. Rotate the entire leg to the side, to the right, without using your hands and keeping your out to the right. Hold it there using your leg strength. If this instruction makes sense, then do that. You're going to pull from your right heel all the way through the right leg to your left hip. So it feels like the right heel pulling into the body grounds the left hip down. Reach out through the inside edge of the foot to the base of the big toe. And then inhale, using the leg strength, bring the leg back up. Exhale, bend, release, put that foot on the ground. And then we'll change sides. So if you did the first side with the left leg straight, now you'll extend the right leg straight on the ground. Press the back of the thigh down. Everybody, little curve in the lower back. And then left leg in. Push out through the heel, stretch the left leg straight. Make it as straight as possible, part 1. And then part 2, you're keeping it as straight as possible. And then exhale the leg in toward the torso, inhale back out. 4 more times. Keep the right hip heavy, and without using your hands, open the leg out to the side. Really feel what you're using to hold the leg in place, and it's some combination of the low belly and the muscles of the left hip and the left thigh. So pull from your left heel all the way in to your left hip and even across to your right hip. Glue the right hip down. At the same time, lengthen through the inside edge of your left leg. 1 more breath. And then inhale back up. Exhale, bend, and release. Roll all the way over to your right side. Move that blanket. And then come either to your hands and knees or downward facing dog. If you're on your hands and knees, I actually meant child's pose. So either child's pose or downward facing dog. If you're doing downward facing dog, place the hands shoulder distance apart. Press into the knuckles at the base of the first fingers and the heels of the thumbs. If you're in child's pose, big toes touch, knees apart. Sit back toward your heels. So now in whatever position you are in, stretch the arms straight. Whether you're in child's pose or in downward facing dog, press into the knuckles at the base of the first fingers and the heels of the thumbs. So you're making an active child's pose if that's with the elbows a little bit bent. Rotate the triceps toward the head. And now very strongly pull the hips back away from the wrists. And if you're in child's pose, you're sinking the hips toward the heels. If you're in downward facing dog, you're scooping back the low belly and extending the heels toward the ground. If you're in if you're in child's pose, come up onto your hands and knees. And then everybody step the right foot up beside the right hand. Straight leg. So lift the left knee up off the ground. Come up on the fingertips. And make sure your right knee is over your right heel. Shift your hips a little bit to the left and hug your right hip in. Feeling the work in the muscles of the right buttocks. Inhale. And now we'll straighten and bend the leg with the breath. So as you exhale, stretch the leg straighter. Fold your forehead toward your shin. The front knee look forward. Exhale. Straighten. Inhale, bend. As you bend, draw your front heel back toward your right sitting bone and bring your sitting bone toward your heel. And then as you stretch the legs straighter, keep that line of sitting bone and heel. Bend, exhale, inhale, exhale, straighten. And then when your front knee is bent, pause. And from here, change sides. So either drop your back knee and from your hands and knees, shift or step forward or back. And make your way onto the second side, left foot forward, right foot back. Line up the straight leg lunge so your left knee is over your heel and your left sitting bone lines up with your left heel as well. Hug your left hip in. And then here we go, 5 times, bend and straighten the leg. Exhale. Consider that the movement, how you can embody in the movement great love, gentle living, and letting go gracefully of that which no longer serves you. Last time. So when your front knee is bent, everybody will step forward from here into a standing forward bend. So pushing off with your right foot, step up, Uttanasana. Take the feet wide enough apart that you minimally bend the knees. So go wider if the knees bend to get the fingertips on the ground. Line the outside edges of the feet up so that they're parallel with the edges of the mat. With the knees a little bit bent, release your head all the way down over the legs. And then as you press the legs straighter, push the heels out apart, away from each other. If the legs are all the way straight, you could stay there. If not, bend the knees a little bit, push the heels apart, stretch the legs straighter. Exhale, bend, inhale, bend a bit, exhale, straighten. If you are straight, for the last couple of breaths, hug the outer hips in, draw the low belly back, and stretch the crown of the head down toward the ground. Everybody bend the knees a bit and put your hands on your hips, lift your chin, use your legs, inhale, and come up. Exhale, face the long end of the mat. We'll do a standing side bend next. So stand with the feet right together. Squeeze the legs in. Put your right hand on your right hip, your left hand on your left shoulder, or stretch your left arm up alongside your left ear. Inhale here and really lengthen all up along the left side of the torso, and then shift your hips to the left and lean over to the right. Press into your heels. Squeeze the legs together. And fully breathe into the left side of the torso. And exhale completely. See if you can go over a little bit more. And then inhale, come back up. Exhale, left hand down. Left hand on your thigh, right hand on your hip, or inhale, stretch the right arm alongside the right ear. Squeezing the legs together, shift your hips to the right, lean over to the left. Breathe. Squeeze the legs together. Inhale, full breath into the right side of the torso. And then as you exhale, release tension, unnecessary tension. Tensions that is not serving how you hold the pose. One more breath. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, that hand down. We're gonna go next into gate pose or Paribhasana. So this is a place where you might want a blanket for your knees, and you're gonna come onto your knees facing the long edge of the mat. And then staying on your left knee, you wanna step the right foot out to the right and have the leg relatively straight. So if it works for your body to angle the toes kind of off at about a 45-degree angle, then do that. Otherwise, you can lift the ball of the foot up so you're balancing right on the heel. Bring your left hip over your left knee, and then inhale, stretch the arms to the sides. Turn the entire left arm up. And now you can keep it on your hip if that's what you need to, but if you can turn the arm up and then stretch it alongside the ear, do that. Inhale here, and now shifting the hips to the left. It's just like what we did in the side bend standing. Shift your hips to the left, lean over to the right. Slide your right hand down your right leg. Breathe. As you shift the hips to the left, take the breath in to the left side of the torso. And then as you exhale, see what you can release, what you can soften, what you can gracefully let go of. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hand down, and then change sides. Yeah, you have to move things. So with your right knee over under your right hip, left leg out, either the left toe is kind of angled off at about a 45-degree angle, or spin on the heel and point your foot straight up. Then inhale the arms to the sides unless you're working with a shoulder issue that keeps your right hand on your hip. Spin the entire right arm up. Inhale that arm alongside the ear if that's working for you. And then shifting the hips right, lean over to the left. As you lean over to the left, lengthen the left side of the torso. Lengthen the right side of the torso. Use the exhalation to soften and let the softening take you deeper into the pose, as opposed to a push moving you further. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the hand down. And now come up to stand, moving the blanket to the side. So extended side angle, very similar to that pose in many ways. So inhale, step the feet wide apart. Turn the left foot in slightly, rotate the right leg and foot out. Inhale the arms to shoulder height. Exhale, deeply bend your right knee, track your knee, your middle toes. Then put your right forearm on your thigh, your left hand can go to your hip, or you can stretch it straight up in the air. From your left hip, push down into your left heel. Point your front knee over the middle toes. And now draw your right shoulder blade away from your right ear. Lift the chest, stretch up into the left hand if it's in the air. And now as you exhale, lengthen the right side of the torso and slide the right hand down toward the ground inside your right foot. Take the head back a little bit, lift the heart. Push into both heels, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release the arms, turn the feet. And then the second side. So turn right foot in, left leg and foot out. Inhale the arms to shoulder height. Exhale, bend your front knee deeply. Put your left forearm on your thigh, your right hand on your hip, or your right arm straight up in the air. From your right hip, push into your right heel. Bend your front knee straight forward over your middle toes. Drop your left shoulder blade. Lift the center of the chest up. Reach into your right fingertips if they're overhead. And then perhaps slide the left hand down to touch the ground inside the left heel. 2 more breaths here. Now, using your legs, push into your heels, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms. Inhale, step the feet together. Triangle pose. Inhale, step the feet really wide apart. Turn the left foot in, take the right leg and foot out. Inhale the arms to the sides. Firm your right thigh, slightly bend your right knee, and slide your right hip underneath you so it lines up with your right heel. Lift up on the right side of the torso a bit, and now shifting the hips to the left, reach out. Put your torso on the back of your right thigh as best you can, and then hold your shin or ankle. Left hand at your left hip or left arm straight up in the air. Push into your left heel. Anchor the big toe side of your right foot and hug your right hip underneath you. And as you hug your right hip underneath you, take your shoulders and your head, take your shoulders down the back and your head back toward the wall behind you. Perhaps turn your head to look up at your left thumb. Push into both heels. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, lower your arms. Turn your feet. Second side. Right foot in, left leg and foot out. Inhale the arms to the side. Slightly bend your left knee and hug your left hip underneath you more. And lifting up on the left side, you want to reach the torso on the back of your left thigh as you come down. Hold the shin or ankle, stretch the right arm up. Push your right heel down and away from you. Hug your left hip underneath you. Draw the shoulder blades away from the ears. Reach up into your top hand. Consider how the actions and the effort are embodying loving greatly, living gently, and letting go of all that no longer serves you. Push into both heels. Inhale, come up. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms. Inhale, feet together. Warrior one. Step the feet really wide apart. Inhale. And then this time put your hands on your hips and turn the left foot in 60 degrees, so basically as much as you can get it. Spin your right leg and foot out. With the hands on the hips, move the right foot over to the right enough that you can swing your left hip more forward. With the outside of the left hip and the outside of the left ribs forward, either keep your hands on your hips, or if it works for your shoulders, stretch the arms out alongside the ears. Push your back heel firmly into the ground. Then, exhale, bend your right knee deeply. And as you sit down, drag your right heel back toward your right sitting bone and reach your right sitting bone down toward your right heel. Lift up the low belly, remembering those exercises we did earlier. And then lengthen the sides of the torso. Take the head back a little bit. Look up. Push into both heels. Inhale, stretch the front leg straight. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms, and even up your toes. Bring your hands to your hips. Second side. Right foot in, left leg and foot out. Move the left foot to the left so that you can swing the right hip around. Push it down into your right heel. Take your right ribs more forward. Hands on the hips, or inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. And now pushing into your right heel, exhale, bend your left knee deeply. Track your left knee straight over your middle left toes. And drag your left heel toward the middle of the mat. And then bend your front knee so your front sitting bone drops toward your front heel. Draw the low belly slightly in and lift up. Maybe look up. One more breath. And then pushing into your heels, inhale, stretch your front leg straight. Exhale, turn your feet, lower the arms. Inhale, feet together. Face the short edge of the mat. Separate the feet hip bone distance apart. Take a deep breath in. And now as you exhale, you can bend the knees. Fold all the way over, standing forward bend. In the standing forward bend, make sure the outside of the feet are parallel, the long edges of the mat. And lightly push the heels apart. Stretch the legs straighter. And if the legs are straight, squeeze the outer hips at the tops of the legs in until you feel the low belly draw lightly back toward the spine. Extend the crown of the head toward the ground. So we're going to do a straight leg lunge to a twisting straight leg lunge to a twisting version of revolved triangle. So that may have made no sense, but anyway, that's where we're going. So bend the knees, place the fingertips beside the ankles. Inhale, step the left foot all the way back, straight leg lunge. Here, make sure your front knee tracks over your middle toes. And hug your right hip in, so your right sitting bone and your right heel are in line. Turn your left hand slightly out to the left. Put your right hand on your right hip. Twist the torso to the right. Draw your left shoulder blade away from your left ear. Twist the torso, and if it works for your shoulder, stretch your right arm straight up in the air. Now, keeping your right hip lined up with your right heel, stretch the right leg straighter. It does not have to go all the way straight. And if it can go all the way straight, it stops just short of full straightness so that there's a tiny bend in the front knee. Make your back leg straight, pull your right hip in, drop your shoulder blades, lift the chin, lift the chest. And now exhale, bend your right knee, take your hand down to the ground, step your left foot forward. Pause, take a breath, standing forward bend. Nala, no barking. And then bending the knees, bending the knees, place the fingertips beside the heels. Inhale, step the right leg back, straight leg lunge. Keep your back leg strong and straight. Bring your left sitting bone to line up with your left heel. Turn your right hand out. Put your left hand on your left hip. Twist the torso to the left. Curl the chest up, lift the chin a little bit. Maybe take your left hand straight up in the air, arm. And then wherever you're at, stretch the left leg straighter, keeping the left sitting bone lined up with the left heel. So if anything, it feels like and then exhale, bend the front knee, touch the left hand down, step the right foot forward, standing forward bend. Bend the knees a little bit, put the hands on the hips, lift the chin, inhale, and come up, exhale. Again, face the long edge of the mat. Pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. So inhale, step the feet apart, put the hands on the hips. So this is like warrior one foot placement. So turn your left foot in 60 degrees. Spin your right leg at 90 degrees. Move the right foot to the right enough that you can swing the outside of the left hip and the left ribs forward. Micro bend your front knee, firm your front thigh. So you can keep your hands on your hips, in which case you point the elbows straight back behind you, or hug the elbows behind you. And if you know reverse prayer position and that's an appropriate thing for your shoulders, you could do that. So now push down into both heels. Inhale, curl the heart up. Shift your hips a bit to the left so your right sitting bone lines up with your right heel. And now as you exhale, shift your hips back toward the wall behind you. Reach the torso forward and bring your torso over your right thigh. Push your left heel down. Hug your right hip in. Draw the low belly back and twist the navel to face the right thigh. 2 more breaths. Make sure you feel the stretch in the center of the back of the right thigh, not behind the knee or at the sitting bone. Push into both heels, lift the chin. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, turn the feet, release the hands. Put the hands on the hips. Second side. Turn the right foot in 60 degrees. Take the left leg and foot out. Move the left foot to the left so that you can swivel the right hip and the right side of your ribs around. Micro bend your knee. So there's a groundhog between this property and the neighbor's property. And he was out in the field having a little snack right before class started. So I think that that's making Nala very concerned. So, planting your heels, micro-bending your front knee. Take the hands in whatever position you had them. If you held your elbows, change which hand holds first. Pushing your heels down. Inhale, curl your chest up. Then, shift your hips back toward the wall behind you. Reach the torso forward and fold over your front leg. Shift your hips a bit to the right so that your left sitting bone stays in line with your left heel. Draw the low belly back away from your left thigh and twist the navel toward the left leg. Draw the shoulder blades away from the ears and fold the torso over. 1 more breath. And then pushing into your heels, lift your chin. Inhale, come up. Exhale, turn the feet. Release the arms. Inhale, step the feet together. Face the short edge of the mat. Separate the feet, hip bone distance apart. Standing forward bend. Inhale. Exhale. Fold all the way over the legs. Adjust the legs, meaning adjust the feet, take the feet wider apart or closer together depending on your body. Firm the muscles on the front of the thighs. Push the heels apart, stretch the legs straighter. If the legs are straight, hug the outer hips in. Stretch the crown of the head toward the earth. Breathe. And now here, and it might be helpful to bend the knees with this. We're going to just slightly lengthen the exhalation, a little bit like we did at the beginning of the practice. So you don't want to make this too effortful. You want to have capacity to breathe. So if that's not the case, you might want to come back up to stand and then do this there. If you can do it folding over, sometimes this position allows the exhalation to release a bit more. So, inhale. Exhale fully. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale fully. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. Let the breath return to normal. Bending the knees more. Place the hands on the ground to step back into downward facing dog or child's pose if you're not doing downward facing dog. So as you step back, if you're in downward facing dog, place the feet several inches apart. Evenly spread out the fingers and glue the knuckles at the base of the first fingers and the heels of the thumbs firmly down into the ground. Press the tops of the thighs back toward the wall behind you. Descend the heels. Release the head completely. Couple more breaths. So from here we're going to lie on the stomach. So if you've been in child's pose, then come to your stomach, and if you're in downward facing dog, drop your knees to the ground, lie all the way down. So stretch the legs straight back behind you. And if it works for your shoulders, reach the arms forward alongside the ears, with the arms turned so that the palms face each other and the thumbs point up. If this doesn't work for your shoulders, you can keep your hands bent and the arms bent and the hands under the shoulders, or you can take the arms back by your sides. Position that works for you. We're going to lift ideally diagonally, so head, chest, right arm, left leg, and then head, chest, right leg. So it's a little different if the arms are not overhead, but you'll still get benefit doing the diagonal lift of the arm and the leg. So with the forehead or the chin on the ground, scoop up the low belly, firm the muscles of the buttocks. This is very similar to that position we did on the hands and knees at the beginning of the practice. So here, similar in shape, not in where the muscles are working. So now, as you inhale, lift the head, chest, the right arm, the left leg up. And then exhale, come down. Inhale, head, chest, left arm, right leg. Exhale, come down. Inhale, back to the right side, right arm, left leg. Exhale. Other side, left arm, head, chest, right leg. Exhale, down. One more time on each side. Inhale, right arm, head, chest, left leg. And then down. And then last time. Exhale. Come down. Take the hands back by your sides. Roll right to the very center of your thighs. Reach back through the big toes. Scoop up the low belly. Engage the muscles of the buttocks. Now we'll lift the head, chest, the arms, and the legs. The full pose. Excuse me. So when you're ready, press the tops of the feet down so that the knees lift. Scoop up the low belly. Firm the buttocks. Descend the shoulder blades, but lift the top of the arms away from the ground. And then inhale, come up. Lift the legs as much as possible unless that's not working for your lower back, in which case keep them on the ground. Curl the head and chest back away from the ground. Reach your fingers toward your feet. Inhale here, and then exhale and come down. Readjust so that you're on the center of the thighs. Scoop up the low belly. Firm the muscles of the buttocks, and push the tops of the feet down. Lift the tops of the arms away from the ground. Descend the shoulder blades. And then inhale, come back up. Lift the tops of the thighs and reach back through the toes. Curl the chest away from the ground. Reach your fingers toward your feet. If it works for your neck, lift the chin a little bit. And then exhale all the way down. From here, we're going to do a thigh stretch. So you can either do this propped up on your left forearm, which will make it more intense for most people, or with the forehead resting on your left forearm. So from here, be right on the very center of your right thigh. Bend your right knee. And you can lift the head up a little bit to reach back, catch your right ankle. But if it's better for your lower back to then release the head down, do that.
If you're upright, draw the left shoulder blade away from your left ear. And if you're upright, it will probably make more sense to hold from the inside edge of the foot. Now squeeze the right knee toward the left knee. Draw the right heel toward the hip. And now if you're not catching the ankle with the hands, you're using your leg strength to draw the leg in, you might catch your pants or something else. But it's very appropriate to work the active range of motion, which is what you can hold just with the leg itself. So we'll do that for a moment or two at the end. One more breath here. Now hold the foot exactly as you have it without using your arm. And then slowly release. Change sides, so rest the head on the right forearm or prop yourself up on your right forearm. Roll to the center of the left thigh. Bend the left knee. Reach back, catch the ankle or your pant leg, or use the leg muscle to hold it there. Scooping up the low belly and lightly firming the muscles of the buttocks. Draw your left heel toward your left hip. If you're upright and you're holding the inside edge of the foot, then you might take the heel toward the outside of the buttocks or down toward the ground outside the hip. Breathe. We're asking the muscles on the front of the thigh to release. So just gently invite that. So issue an invitation for the muscles on the front of the left thigh to let go of that which is no longer necessary or serving. And then it's the muscles of the backs of the thigh that hold the leg in place, or partly. So flexing those muscles, hold the foot as much as possible right where it is without using your hand. And then exhale, release the leg. Place your hands under your shoulders. Press onto your hands and knees. And then from here we're going to do pigeon prep. So you can either do this from downward facing dog or from your hands and knees. So from here you're going to step the right knee to the outside of the right wrist and walk your left foot over so that it's in front of your right hip. If this is not working for your knees, then I suggest you repeat what we just did, which is the lying on the stomach thigh stretch. So if you're in pigeon pose, you're going to squeeze your right knee in toward your right or even left hip. Roll the left hip down toward your right foot and lift the torso more or less upright. So instead of coming forward, we're wanting the chest to stay up. If it's possible, come even up on your fingertips. Squeeze the legs like you're pulling your knees toward each other, even if that lifts the hips up a little bit. And contemplate what it would take to lift your hands up off the ground. And that's coming from the muscles in the hips. And then hands down. Lift back up. And come either onto the hands and knees or downward facing dog. Second side. So take the left knee to the outside of the left wrist. Left foot in front of the right hip. And then squeeze the knees together. Roll the outside of the right hip toward the left foot. And pull the left knee back in, like you're drawing, like you're a turtle, drawing your limbs in. And the shell right now is in the center of the pelvis. So as you pull your limbs in, come perhaps up on the fingertips. Squeeze the legs. And contemplate what it would take to lift the hands up off the ground. You don't have to do that, but you're holding yourself there mostly with the strength of your legs. And then, either downward facing dog, or just come back onto your hands and knees. If you are on your stomach doing the thigh stretch, then from the press onto the hands and knees, and everybody
Turn over and lie on your back. Bridge pose. Setu-bandha. So lying on the back. Tuck the tops of the shoulders under. Stretch your arms out straight and grab onto the edges of your mat. And with a good hold on your mat, tuck the tops of the shoulders again underneath you. Kind of wiggle side to side. With the knees bent and the feet on the ground, place the heels close enough to the body that you can really strongly push down into the heels. So if they're in too close, you might not be able to do that. And also if they're too far away, you won't be able to do that. So find that kind of happy medium place. And then very strongly push the heels down and the top of the upper arms down. Inhale, lift the hips up. Scoop again the tops of the shoulders underneath. Push the heels down. Lift the hips way up. Point the knees straight out away from you. Press the tops of the upper arms down. Holding onto the mat, rotate the upper arms out. So that the upper arms roll away from the body. The biceps come down toward the ground. And now lift the hips up as strong as high as possible. And draw your chest toward your chin. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly come all the way down. Pause there. So we're going to do one last stabilizing move here. So we're going to lift the hips up and then stretch one leg out straight and then the other. So you're not going to want to lift the hips as high perhaps as you just had them. So hold on to the edges of the mat again. Bring your feet a little closer together. Not right together, but a little closer than they were. Press the heels down. Press the tops of the shoulders down. Inhale, lift the hips up. Again, not so high, so that the hips are even, parallel to the ceiling. And either keep hold of the mat, or you can put your hands lightly on the hips so that you know that they don't shift one hip higher, one hip lower. And now, standing on your left foot, pushing into your left heel without shifting your hips. Take the right leg and stretch. Hold. And then bend the right leg, put the right foot on the ground. Firm the right buttocks, push down into the right heel. Stretch the left leg out. Hold. And then down. With both feet on the ground, exhale. Lower the hips down evenly. Pause. So here you can put the blanket back behind your head, especially if it's close. And then for a moment, just take your feet a little wider apart, let your knees tip together to touch. Place either the hands on the belly, or again, place one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest. Close your eyes. Let the breath settle. Let the body settle. Notice the inhale and the exhale. So if your breath is very erratic, you just want to let the breath settle. If the breath has some quality of ease to it, then you can lengthen the exhale for a couple of cycles like we have done earlier in practice. So perhaps inhale, long, slow, steady breath in. Exhale, long, slow, steady breath out. Little pause. Exhale a bit more. Inhale, long, slow, steady breath. Exhale, slowly but completely. Little pause. Exhale a bit more. Long, slow, steady breath in. Exhale. Little pause. Exhale a little more. Let the breath return to normal. Release the hands. We're going to do a twisting, a supine twist here. So with your knees bent and your feet on the ground, lift your hips and slide your hips a little bit to the right. Stretch your left leg out straight. Take your right arm out to the right with the palm up. So the hands just slightly below the shoulders, and tuck that shoulder underneath you just like you did in bridge pose. Anchor that shoulder down. Draw the right knee in. Catch the outside of the right thigh with your left hand. And now rolling the hips up. Take the right knee and the foot across to the left. Keep the right shoulder down and lightly press out through the right fingertips. If your right toes touch the ground, good. If not, then you're using your arm to hold the leg in place. Arch the lower back. Press your right hip away from you. And now actively draw the right side of the rib cage, the left side of the rib cage up, and roll the right side of the rib cage down toward the ground. One more breath. And then inhale. Lift the right knee up. Place the foot on the ground. Bend the left leg, come back to center. And then lift the hips up and shift the hips a bit to the left. Stretch the right leg out. So you can right away roll more to the baby toe side of the right foot. Take the left arm out, palm up at about shoulder height. Draw the left knee in, catch the outside of the leg with the right hand, and then tip across so that the left knee comes to the right and your left toes might touch the ground. Arch the lower back a little bit. Twist the torso to the left so that you roll the right side of the rib cage up and drop the left side of the rib cage down. Let the essence of the effort hold gentleness, love, and as you exhale, of everything no longer serving you. And then lift the knee up. Bend the right leg, bring yourself out. So now we're going to do that same thing, but with the option of having the leg straight, the leg that's going to the side. So first side again. So lift the hips up, shift the hips a bit to the right, stretch the right arm out at shoulder height, lengthen the left leg. So roll right away to the baby toe side of the foot. Bend the right leg, catch the outside edge of the right thigh. If you know that you have the capacity to hold the foot, right now you could stretch the leg straight. Press your right shoulder down, tip the right leg over to the left. And now I'm going to hold on the bottom side of the leg. I'm going to put my left hand at my right knee, the inside of my right knee, and then stretch the right leg straighter. Reach the right toes out away from you and up toward the left shoulder. Arch the lower back, twist the torso to the right, and reach out through your right fingertips. One more breath. Bend the right knee. Lift the knee up. Put the foot on the ground. Bend the left leg. Bring the hips back to center. Second side. So lift the hips up a bit and shift your hips to the left. Stretch the right leg out straight. Come to the baby toe side of the foot. Reach the left arm to the left, palm up. Bend the left knee in. Catch the outside of the knee, tip across. And then I change the hold, so I hold more on the inside of the knee. Flexing the left foot. Now extend the left leg out, aiming the leg out to the right and up toward the shoulder. Reach out through the left foot, arch the lower back, twist the torso to the left, and lightly extend out through the left fingertips. As you exhale, see if you can release more, releasing the sensations, and perhaps moving deeper into the twist, but only if that comes with a release of sensation. Bend the left leg, bring the knee back up. Bend both knees, place both feet on the ground. Pause for a moment. Roll all the way over to your right side and sit up. So if you have a little blanket or a pillow to sit on that. You don't need a lot of height for most of us. We're going to do Gobukasana, cow face pose, folding forward to some extent. So stretch the legs straight out in front of you and have just enough height that your lower back moves more in and up as opposed to rolls back strongly. With your hands, turn your thighs in. Bend your right knee. Cross your right knee over your left. So if this is already a lot of sensation in the right hip or in the right knee, you're just going to stay here and you're going to hold the knee in place with your hands. If you can move the right foot a bit more straight over to the left, do that. And if your knee allows for you to place your right foot beside your left hip, do that. Micro bend your left knee, so you're pulling your left heel in a little bit. And there's a little bit of lift behind the knee. And then hold the right knee with your hands. Option one is you just stay here. And for some people, there's a lot of sensation in the right hip in this position. If you don't feel much sensation, then you can bring the torso forward over your front knee. And if that's happening, then you can put your hands down and walk your hands out. If you know your body and you know that one side is very different than the other side in this kind of a position, you might just want to do the harder side or the more tension-filled side twice. So here, exhale. And really use the exhale to allow you to release into the pose. So instead of coming more forward, you want to find a position that allows you to exhale well. Two more breaths. Walk the hands back in if you've walked them forward. Use your hands to lift the right leg up, stretch the right leg out straight. Second, bend the left leg in, cross the left leg over the right, pause, assess, breathe. So if you can still breathe, then we said the breath holds the essence of love, gentle living, and graceful letting go. So if the breath is moving, then you have permission to perhaps go further. So you can just take the left foot more out to the right or around beside your right hip. Bend the right knee a little bit. Hold the left knee with your hands. Make sure that the discomfort is not in the joint of the knee, but more in the muscles around the hip. And then from here, perhaps come more forward if that is appropriate for your body. Draw the shoulder blades away from the ears and breathe into sensation. Let the breath be a guide, and specifically a guide on how we greatly love and grace. One more breath. Walk the hands back in. Use your hands. Lift the left leg up and across. Stretch the left leg straight. So we'll end with in the asana practice, do a little bit more breathing before the final relaxation. So the last pose is a cross-legged forward bend. If that's not appropriate for your knees, then you'll lie down and do the number 4 position that we did earlier in the practice, and you can lift the knees in if that works for your body. So for some people, there's less pressure on the knees in that position than there is in the cross-legged seated forward bend. So if you're able to sit with the legs crossed, you're going to bring your right leg in first and have your left leg outside. In the cross-legged forward bend, you want your knees narrow and the feet wide, as opposed to the knees wide and the feet in toward the midline. Turn the thighs in with the hands. So if you're on your left thigh and pressing the right knee lightly away from you, or perhaps lifting the left knee toward the torso and holding the back of the left thigh. Everybody keep the weight even on both hips. So if you're seated, that means you're sinking the right hip down. Walk the hands out and fold forward some amount. Again, recognizing that the performance is less significant and that the intention of the practice is how to cultivate and embody various aspects of the teachings, in this case, how to love greatly, live gently, and gracefully let go. One more breath. Walk the hands back in. If you're seated, and then stretch the legs out straight. If you're on the ground, release your hands, put your left foot on the ground and cross the right. And then the second side. So if you're seated, left leg in first, right leg outside. And if you're on your back, then left ankle on right thigh. Turn your thighs in with your hands. Lightly squeeze the knees together. Sink the hips down so the weight is even across the back of the pelvis. And then come more into the pose. So if you're lying down, you might lift the right knee in, catch the back of the right thigh. And if you're seated, come forward some amount. As you come forward again, the intention is to work in a way that allows the breath, especially the exhalation, to move freely. And there's definitely a relationship between the exhale and letting go. Let go of the breath and we release tension. And it's also perhaps the key to how we live gently and love greatly. breaths here. And then walk the hands back in. Inhale, come on up. Lie on your back. We'll do a couple more rounds of this particular exhalation that we've been working with, and then rest in the final relaxation, Shavasana. So right now, grab anything that you need to lie down with ease. If you're using support behind the knees, have it ready, but then come onto your back with your head supported a little bit with the blanket or a pillow so that the forehead slopes slightly toward the heart, and there's a little bit of length in the back of the neck. And then bend the knees, place the feet on the ground, and let the knees drop together to touch. Either arms at your sides, palms up, or bend the elbows and place the palms on the torso. So you'll stay there. Close your eyes. If you're wearing glasses, place them to the side. And then we'll work with the lengthened exhale as we have been. So as you're ready, inhale, long, slow, gentle, even breath in. Exhale fully. Little pause. Exhale more. Little pause. Inhale. Keep the jaw and the eyes soft. Exhale fully. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. Long, slow, steady breath in. Exhale. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. Long, slow, steady breath in. Exhale. Little pause. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Little pause. Exhale a little bit more. Inhale. Last one. Exhale. Pause. Exhale. Inhale. And let the breath return to normal. Stretch the legs out. Support the backs of the knees as needed. Readjust in any way. And then as easily as possible, slide into the final relaxation. Completely release the belly. Relax all the muscles of the face. Especially release the jaw. Soften the eyes.
let go. Let go of all that no longer serves. And when you think you've finished letting go, let go a bit more so that the body, in the process of letting go, releases completely into the earth. Let the mind release into the breath. And know the breath in its full, gentle, loving touch. Softly deepen your breath. And with the next deeper breath in, one at a time, bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. Supporting the head with the right arm as needed, roll all the way to the right side. Pause well on your right side. And then using your left hand, press yourself up and come to sit for a moment. Sitting well, join your hands together at your heart, close your eyes. In the end, there are only three things that matter: how greatly you have loved, how gently you have lived, and how gracefully you have let go of that which you no longer need. Close the practice with one Om. Take a full breath in. Om.